And now on for our filling. Now for our filling, we have our helper right here.
And first of all, we've got our 5.5 cups of sliced apples. Do you want to try one?
Oh, absolutely.
And then I've mixed the sugar and the flour and some cinnamon in this bowl. Katie's going to mix all of that together so it's all flavored nicely for us. Just put it in part at a time, honey. Or you can use a little more. Whoops, that's it. It's okay. It's okay.
We got a lot.
That's it. Now just turn
We got
it
a
over
lot
little
there.
bit. That's the way. It's working good. Okay, now let's get a little bit over on this side, okay? Just stir them up a little bit so they all get flavored.
It's fun to include the kids in when you do your baking for the holidays.
Oh, she's a good baker.
Yeah.
She makes a lot of stuff. Let me just get way to the bottom for you. There's some down
My
there.
two grandsons have their own aprons too. I put them to work too.
Yeah, somebody suggested I should wear an apron, but I'd never worn one, so I probably trip over it. Okay, sweetheart, there's a little bit more. Keep on stirring. Your job isn't done yet. Gotta get all that cinnamon in there. That's what makes it taste good.
So in there, we had 1 cup of sugar.
Right.
1/2 teaspoon of the cinnamon.
Right.
And the cornstarch.
Right.
Now the cornstarch was
Just
too
makes it a little
thickened.
thicker.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's kind of runny.
Okay.
Okay, honey. Now, if you want to, let's add some of these right now, and you stir them in, and then we'll sprinkle some on top after we stuff it in the pie. Make sure they're even now. I want 4 cranberries in each quarter piece of pie. Okay?
We're going to be counting that later on.
Or else you're not going to get an A on your report card if it isn't 4 in each quarter piece.
Okay, and we're ready to add the rest.
Now, before we put the apples in, I'm going to put a little bit of Crisco on the bottom because then the juice from the apples do not soak into the crust.
And that's a good, very good trick, so you don't have that soggy bottom that sometimes you have with fruit pies.
Yes.
Another good trick is to put an equal amount of flour with an equal amount of sugar and just sprinkle it on the bottom. So depending upon what type of fruit pie that you're using you'll get to know your own pies.
Yeah. It usually works pretty well. You know, every once in a while you run into some fruit that's extremely juicy and it'll get kind of pooling at the bottom. But it's still awfully, awfully good, even if it's juicy. Okay, honey, that's good enough. Now, can you spoon them in here? Or do you want me to help you? You hold the bowl and I'll start, okay? You just have to kind of scoot them around a little bit so they're fairly even, so nobody gets all the apples and somebody else gets all the crust. I think there's going to be enough apples here. What do you think? Of course, now you have all the cranberries arranged. I might be messing up your arrangement here, and they'll be all ending on one side of the pie. But we won't tell, will we? A little bit over here. You just try and get it as close to the crust as you can. Sneak in there, fella. Okay, we need some more somewhere. I don't know where, but...
Now Jean's recipe doesn't have the lattice top. She has a different topping with the, what do you call the topping?
Streusel.
Yeah, the streusel topping. So it's a little bit easier. You don't have to do the cutting and I like the taste.
Now what we can do, in case they aren't all even, you can just take some cranberries and sprinkle them over the top. Kind of spread them out a little bit. They don't have to be on too thick. Okay. How's that look? All right? This guy has to turn over.
And see, left some more so I can
All
taste
done.
that too. Okay.
Now we have to do the topping.
Now we'll be on for the topping.
Okay, now the only thing that's left is just to put the topping on. Which
Okay.
is usually fairly simple, but you never know. I already measured out half a cup of flour and half a cup of sugar.
Okay.
If I can get it open. And then we have to add the melted butter, probably a little at a time. I know, maybe you can get me a fork, okay? I think it breaks down a little bit more with a fork than a spoon. It's kind of crummy. Thank you, dear.
And again, this is a good topping to put on a lot of the fruit pies. If you don't want the extra crust, the extra calories on the top, this is even better. It's easier. It's a little bit less calories. I don't know how many less.
Well, you got half a cup of butter in there. It depends on.
Yeah, but
yeah, but you're only having a slice. You're not eating the whole pie, Sally.
Well,
some people could.
We'll see.
See, I want this to get just like crumbs. So you have to mix all the butter in with the flour and the sugar until it gets crummy. Do you want something crummy on your pie? Or would you like chocolate?
Oh, little chocolate chips, if you had a cherry pie on the top like that, I bet would go really well. Yeah, I like chocolate too.
We know. It's getting crummy.
Are we set?
Well, we got to get the flour and sugar a little bit more, and then I'll throw the nuts in, and that'll make it a little bit crunchier.
And the nuts are, if you're don't like nuts, it's easy to omit.
Yeah.
But it adds an extra little layer to your pie.
Okay. Now we'll put some of these in.
Now, what nuts do you use?
Those are pecans that I ground up. So they're, pretty fine. So it'll go in with the topping all right.
Okay.
And then now I use my fingers.
Well, we washed everything beforehand, so I guess
right.
we have to use our fingers.
Okay.
That's what a good baker does.
See what happens now.
And this is so she has more control of where everything's going and
hope we
make
have
sure
enough for it.
everybody gets some.
Everybody gets some of the topping right. And some of this will just spread out as it melts into the pie.
Well, it's certainly looking pretty.
Oh,
already.
Thank you. That's what we want, is a pretty looking pie.
And you're right, craisins does add a lot of color to it, so that's nice.
Well, especially like for the fall, I think it looks nice. Because,
You see, I've soaked my raisins in brandy, but
Oh,
I guess this is better.
well, raisins and brandy in apple pie would be for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So you can make it with brandy at Christmas time. And my husband will come and sample it because he likes brandy at Christmas time.
But Dean's favorite is the apple too, right?
Dean's favorite is practically every pie known to man. As often as he can get it.
Now, doesn't that make you feel good, though?
Well, except I probably could make it every week and he'd be happy, and I really don't feel like making it every week.
Well, this is a special for you to make it for us here.
Yes, indeed. And we'll probably be able to have a little piece left over for him. How does that look?
That looks wonderful.
Does it look like it should go in the oven?
It looks like we're ready for the oven.